Welcome to Inside Lines Podcast, where we celebrate incredible women in and around sports. I'm your host, Atoya Burleson, and let's dive into the latest happenings this week. First up, it's time for Let's Talk About It, where we break down the latest headlines that you should know. Ayesha Curry was on a podcast discussing how, when she was in her teens, she didn't want kids she didn't want to get married. She says, quote, "So I didn't want kids. I didn't want to get married. I thought I was going to be a career girl, and that's it." Well, the half listeners were angry, saying how she's ungrateful and she's embarrassing Steph Curry and he should leave her and their marriage is going to end up in divorce. But what the trolls didn't listen to was the entirety of the episode. And, she also said amazing things. She said how great Steph is, how on their first date, he was the nicest and kindest guy she'd ever met. And she wishes she could go back to their first date and relive that because it was such a magical moment for her. No one talked about that. Instead, they just want to find one thing and twist it and go crazy. But you know what? Who wasn't bothered? Steph. Just last week, he was seen out with Ayesha, and he was opening up his new bourbon bar called Eighth Rule in Union Square. So, for all you trolls and angry people, y'all are mad for no reason. It's not even your relationship. Like, get over it, get a life. It's not that serious. He's happy in his marriage. Why does it bother you? Okay, moving on to our next segment, which is called Make It Make Sense, where we tackle everyday curiosities and questions we all discuss behind closed doors. I was just having this conversation with my friend. And make it make sense. Why do we drive on parkways, but we park in driveways? Like, who named these things? Tell me what they were thinking, what they were not thinking, maybe what they were on. But like, we're out here driving on a parkway, but there's no park. And we're out here parking in a driveway, but you better not drive too far because you'll end up running into the garage or somebody's mailbox, depending on which way you're going. It's like English language was written by someone who was in a hurry and just at the end was like, it's close enough. I don't care. So y'all tell me, is that not the craziest thing that we drive on parkways and park on driveways? Let me know. Have y'all ever thought about that? Just curious. All right, here we go. Let's talk about it's debatable. It's debatable. I love this because we can stir up some debate, sparks conversation. So y'all ready? Let's dive in. This one is in the case for brunch. Is brunch overrated, or is it the best meal of the week? Here's both sides. The case for brunch is it's vibes only. There's cocktails. There's fun and innovation. The outfits are lit. You got the playlist going. Chef is like in his groove. No one ever argues at brunch. Everybody gets along. It's just a fun time. It's a party. It's like a party for breakfast. But the case against brunch is very interesting. And my friend was like, so I have to really pay $22 for avocado toast or a 2-hour wait? Or she said, it's basically breakfast. You're just showing up later and spending a lot more money and you're taking pictures and dancing. So y'all tell me, do y'all love brunch? Is it a jam, or y'all like it's overrated? I know what I feel, but I'm not going to say anything because I don't want you to take sides. But I think that brunch is one of those things that you either like or you love. You let me know. Do you love brunch, or is it overhyped? Okay. So what I'm going to do now is introduce you to an amazing guest. On the podcast today, we have a health and wellness enthusiast, a mother of 3, and the wife to Chris Manhertz. Please welcome on the show, Gabby Manhertz. Hello, gorgeous.
Hello. Hi. I'm so happy to be here with you, Atoya.
I'm so happy you're here. I just adore you. And I'm so glad you're on representing for the WAGs, girl. Why don't we just start by you just briefly talking about who you are and just share the evolution that's happened from, you're 11 years in it?
Yes.
Is it 11 years now?
11.
Yes. All right, let's talk about it.
Yes. So the first time I came on, I was a new mom to our baby boy, who's not a baby boy anymore. He's 4. At the time, we were in Jacksonville, and that was like my true first time, like being in the WAG world, where early in my husband's career, we were long distance. So I was like popping in, popping out. So that was like my first like taste of being like a WAG, right?
Okay.
And being a new mom. And going to a new city, trying to make friends, making connections, trying to figure out who I was. There was just a lot of identity searching. But since then, my husband went to Denver. We welcomed twins in Denver.
Twins, girl, double the trouble.
Listen. So now I am a mom of 3 under 4. And
That's so crazy. Okay, well, let's stop right there.
Yes.
Talk about the difference between being a mom of 1 and then all of a sudden you are pregnant with twins. And tell us the differences that you notice between like carrying with one single child versus, twins, and even postpartum, like after you have the babies.
Yes. So carrying 1, it's so new, right? So everything, You're just trying to do everything by the book. You're buying everything. You're just like, I just want to make sure I don't mess my child up. I just want to give them everything, right? It was just a lot of there wasn't a lot of grace. I did not give myself enough grace. Like looking back, I felt like I was just trying to lean too much into being the cookie cutter perfection, perfect mom. But there's no such thing as that, right? You do what you can, and you just kind of go with the flow of things. The pregnancy was, it was actually harder than the twins. There was just a lot. There was just a lot going on that just was new, and also too, my labor was very intensive. It was just long, and my husband was there, which was beautiful. But the next day he left. He had to go to training camp. So it's very much by myself. But then the twins, when I tell you, Toya, the twins make me want to have more kids.
Really? Okay, tell me how.
Okay, because the first one was just all over the place that I was equipped with the tools mentally and emotionally to take on whatever was going to come, right? No one can prepare you for labor and delivery, but it was so beautiful. At 32 weeks, I was in Cancun. Sorry, I was in Cabo at my best friend's bachelorette party on the yacht, like, let's go, like with the twins. The following week, I came back and I gave birth to my twins, and it was beautiful. It was on a Victory Monday. My water broke, which I never experienced. It was so blissful. Like, it was so beautiful. And my babies came. Boom, boom, boom. So quick.
It was quick.
And yes, it was quick.
So I've never experienced a quick labor, nor have I experienced my water breaking. So what is it like for your water to break?
You know what? So I was in bed and I felt a little, a little tickle and a little trinkle. And I was like, ooh, let me go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, used the restroom, got up, took 2 steps, and it just was like, and I was trying to hold. Like, I was like trying to do my Kegels, and it was not working. And so I called Chris. He's downstairs on the couch. And I said, Chris, I think my water's breaking. He's like, for real? And I was like, yeah. And he like came upstairs, and thank God my mom was there already in town. And so we just like kind of just got my bag. I was over here trying to like do my hair, and he's like, we got to roll. And I was like, it's okay. Like, my water's breaking, it's fine. I was so calm.
Wow.
Weirdly calm, because I really meditated. I really was intentional on just going into this, just whatever God had for me. It was already done. God already knew how this like delivery was going to be. Like, I asked for, just like blessings and prayers over the doctors and the medical team that was going to be in there. I trusted my body that I was able to deliver my babies vaginally. And usually it's a C-section, but I just trusted myself. And even the doctors, they were like, are you sure? And I was like, no, I'm good. I got my diffuser. I got my lavender.
Look at you.
And I did it. And I waited until the last little bit, like even then. And I got that last contraction. I was like, okay, we got to go. It's time to push. And it was so easy.
Yeah. Wow. That was not how my labors were, girl. Well, okay, I'll take that back.
Okay, tell me.
The labor part was the hardest part. Like when it was time to push, it was like 2-3 pushes and both my boys were out. With my daughter, similar labor, it felt like it took forever to get. I just took forever to get to 10. And pushing for her I thought it was going to be the fastest one because they say like the more kids you have, the faster they come. I pushed, and even I joked to my doctor. She's like, okay, you ready for pushing? I'm like, yeah, it usually takes me 2 or 3 and I'm done. I should have never said that because I jinxed myself. I was pushing for over an hour and I was like, what is going on? This is not how it's supposed to be. I could not wait for her to come out. But yeah, typically the pushing part was the easy part, but the labor, the contractions were long. I was like, Lord, this is supposed to be my easiest one. What is going on? It was my daughter just came in just like, nah, I'm switching it up around here. Don't listen to everybody else.
Yeah. You know what? Everyone says that.
I say kudos to you. Yeah, I don't miss labor, but it's so interesting because people are like, but you did it 3 times. I'm like, yeah, I did, because you do kind of forget. I don't know if it's the PTSD, you just block it out. I don't know. There's nothing more beautiful than bringing a miracle into this world.
It really is. It really is. Now, I'm not going to lie, Atoya, the postpartum, that was different because going from 1, typically people go from 1 to 2. I went from 1 to 3.
Like that.
And no one can prepare you for that. And I think I can be honest with myself and say that, 1, I had 24-hour care. I'm not going to deny that. I typically don't tell people that because they're like, how did you do it? Listen, I had to pay for the village. Like, we were across the country in Denver and didn't have anybody. So we had to get daytime. That was the first time I put CJ in like just childcare for a couple hours. And then we had a nanny during the daytime. And then we had a night nurse and then a doula. Like, I needed everything that we could do just so that I could just mentally just take on the load of like caring for 3 under 3.
Yeah. So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why did you say that you typically don't tell people that? Where is that coming from? Talk to me about that.
There was a lot of shame that I felt in getting help. And because sometimes it can come off as if like, oh, well, you're not really like momming. Like you have hands, you have so much support. And I felt so shameful in that. But as I was like going along in my postpartum, I like literally tipped my hat to all of the help that we had. Like, and I was like, there was no way I could do this, especially having kids in season with a husband that has such a demanding job. Like, I felt like I wasn't good enough because I had help, where it's like, no, I needed that help. That also ensured that my marriage, yeah, sure, we were kind of going through a little bit of a roommate phase. You know, we had 3 kids, small kids, but like we were still prioritizing our marriage and we were dating as best as we could, you know, and just getting, you know, reacclimated as, you know, husband, wife, but with 3 little kids. So I think I was shameful, but now any mom, I'm telling them, I'm like, listen, especially in the league or even not in the league, like if you have it, do it. If you have the means to invest in that, even with like one of my friends, I told her, I said, listen, get a nanny fund. That is like probably one of the most underrated things. It's like, I forget the website, but you're able to just have a fund that you could put towards getting a night nurse or whatever it is. I think beyond the diapers, if you can do that, that is like my one thing.
So talk about those two. Because a lot of people are like, wait, what is she talking about? What is nanny fund? What was the other one called? Something diapers?
The night nurse. Oh, no. Just the diapers. Like I would always say like, yes, diapers are important, but I would say if you can pay to get support and additional help wherever you can, definitely do that.
Love that. Okay. So So explain to people what you use and what it is, because to your point, there are women that like, they feel the shame and embarrassment, but I think you're helping to break that stigma and you're providing them with the resources where they don't have to feel that and they can lean into it so that they have peace of mind for themselves.
Yes. So I used a postpartum doula. And she was there. She was like the first person. So as soon as I came home, she was there as like a mommy helper. Like, so she was helping me like wash bottles. She was like doing laundry, anything that was related to technically the twins. But she was so gracious that just any of the kids' clothes, like even my clothes, like she just did all of our laundry. So she was helping me with that. She was helping me with dishes. She was even making sure I was eating and like meal prepping. And that is such a crucial thing. And when you are in postpartum, making sure that you are not deficient in any kind of nutrients. And that's where I really leaned into like really focusing on like healing the inside of me, because I had that support and I was able to get all of the nutrition that I needed so that I can heal quicker and faster and get back to momming and doing all the things and being more hands-on.
Did you feel like you were in a better space? Because a lot of women don't talk about postpartum as well. Postpartum with every single pregnancy can be different. Did you notice any differences between your two pregnancies?
1,000%. 1,000%. The first one, I felt like I was just trying to do too much. Like, as long as my kid is loved and cared for, that's what's important. All of the other things, just trying to get all of the stuff, like that didn't really matter. But like, as far as like me, I neglected myself in my first postpartum with my son. I was so fixated on just him and everything that he needed and everything that my husband needed that I was like on the lowest part of the totem pole. Where with the twins, I ensured. I was like, I refused to feel the way that I felt with my first with the twins, because I can't pour from an empty cup, Atoya. Like, I can't literally be everything for everyone. And when I realized that, I feel like there was a shift. And it started in my mindset of being like, I have to let go of the mom guilt of being like, you know what? No, if I have the help and support to go to Lifetime up the street and walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes, but for the other, however long I have, I'm just going to sit there and doom scroll or just do my hair and take a long shower and exfoliate, then I am. And then I'll come home.
You know, I'm glad that you said that, Gabby, because there is this unexpected, I would say, pressure that you feel to do it all. And I don't know where it comes from. I remember feeling it too. I remember feeling that I had to do everything. Like, well, I'm here. I'm at the house, so I'll just do everything. Yeah, I'll take care of the kids. I'll cook. I'll do it. And not to say I couldn't do those things and I didn't do those things, but I should have leaned into resources a lot sooner and really just explored resources a lot sooner. I wish I would have known more about it. And to your point, like the postpartum, one of my dear friends, she struggled in postpartum. She didn't feel like herself. And she eventually learned that she was struggling with postpartum depression. And she's like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I was just trying to get through. There wasn't, I didn't know of any resources. I didn't know of anyone who I could talk to. And I think that the more we have these conversations as women, then the clearer we can get on, hey, this might happen, this may not happen. But just in case, here are the resources that you can just keep in your back pocket. So if you need them, they are there.
Yes. And I would also say the therapist with the team was very, very helpful. And like also offering me, and the team was very helpful in offering me resources of being like, hey, with Cigna, you have 10 sessions. You can utilize those 10 sessions. And you know what? And if you didn't know, submit another claim for another issue and you get another 10 sessions.
10 sessions. Mm-hmm.
So that was like the cheat code that I learned. And I shared that knowledge with other, moms. Other, new moms that were just trying to like just survive. And I was like, we have to get rid of feeling like we're surviving. I want you to thrive like that. And the thriving may not happen immediately, but like, let's not make it be towards the end. Those 6 to 8 weeks, you are really in the trenches. You're also learning your baby and loving on your baby and healing. Mm-hmm. But like the goal is to thrive and enjoy your baby, but also enjoy the process of it. Not when you're looking up and they're 2 and 3 and 4, whatever, and then being like, oh, I feel like myself again. No, like you gotta focus on yourself early on.
Amen. And it's okay to focus on yourself. You matter. You matter more than anyone else in that house. You matter because you give to everyone else. And if you're not okay, you got to believe, like you have to believe that there's pieces of you, even when you're giving and doing, you're not intentional about it. You're just going through the motions.
Yes.
Well, I'm here. I'm feeding them. Mm-hmm. They're alive. No one wants to live like that.
No. And you know what? Yes. Do I still now, my oldest is 4 and my twins just had their 2nd birthday. There are moments where I am just like, oh my goodness, I am in survival mode, but I make sure I don't stay there. And I make sure I pivot really quickly. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do to get out of this rut? Like, I just need to figure out what it is so that I can get back to myself and be helpful, and not miserable, if that makes sense.
Amen to that. Okay, so let's talk about resilience in motherhood. Let's talk about just the transition. You get through postpartum, your kids start getting older, and oftentimes women start thinking about themselves more. Finally, the aha moment comes. What was that moment like for you? What did you start seeing or envisioning? What insights were coming to your, to the forefront of your mind? And what was your heart saying?
When we signed to the Giants, so a little back history, when my husband and I met, I was in New York. And I was like making that transition to New York because I was following my North Star, which was like my Paris, which was like, I wanted to be in the city. I wanted to be doing PR and doing all that. And I was doing it, and it was a full circle moment being back on the East Coast, having the support of family. My best friends live here in New York. So I just knew that it was like, okay, I'm going to the media capital of the world. I'm like, this is just where you need to be. Any and everything. You can do any and everything here. And Amen. I also felt supported in that. And my husband he also felt very happy to be back, having like a sense of home. And so it was just like the perfect storm. Yes, we had to pack up. Yeah, listen, I didn't care. I was like, we're going to New York. I was finding houses where we could live. And I just felt so good. And then when we got here, I made the decision to pick back up on getting certified in Pilates. Now, that is still something I'm trucking along on because I just don't always have the time because we realized in our transition, here that our child has special needs. And that has it hasn't deterred me from my goals, but I am just reshaping and redefining like how I'm going to achieve that goal, And so I felt like coming to New York, that was a sense of like homecoming for me and being like, you know what? The kids are getting older. You have the support. Your husband has the resources so that you can go out and like achieve those things that you want to do. Go. And if I don't do it, then it's on my own accord. So I try to like hold myself accountable of being like, you have everything in front of you. You are the only reason why it's not happening. And so I've always been very hyper-focused on my goals. And so even now being here, I'm still mommy, I'm still wife, I'm still a good friend, but I'm very laser focused on like achieving the things that I want to do, because I don't know how long we're going to be here in New York.
Right.
You know, as far as like him playing, like we are in the process of, you know, finding our home, forever home here. But even still in that, like he goes back and forth. He's like, I don't really know. Like I still got some in the tank. So anyways, point is just once we came here and the kids are getting older and just feeling so supported and feeling like this is a homecoming. Like I have a lot to prove to myself, and I'm not going to give up on my dreams just because I'm a mom and a wife, you know?
Amen. Amen to that. It's true. We don't have to give up. There's always little things that we can do along the way until we get back to what we truly want to do full time. But I do want to talk about, you know, you had mentioned that you found out that your child has special needs. And this is often something, it's near and dear to me because I worked in this space. And I feel as though there's these different, similar to anything that you find out unexpectedly, there's these different phases of emotions that you go through. Talk about what that was like for you.
So we knew, you know, no child is the same. But I knew when we were in Jacksonville that he was delayed in his speech, and also just little various things. Like he wasn't walking, he was a late walker, which really isn't like a huge thing, but like the language, like he just went silent. And, you know, I was just like, let's put him in speech therapy. Let's give him like whatever that he needs to do, but also give him space to just kind of show us, you know? And I also felt like I was talking so much for him that maybe he just doesn't need to talk because I'm doing everything for him. So there was that. But then during the off season, we went back to our home in Charlotte and got him in speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy. And one day after a session, she was like, hey, would you ever considered getting, you know, CJ tested? It's so hard for me because I have never like outwardly said this, but tested for autism. And I was just like, I don't really know about that because there's such a stigma behind it. What did I do as a mom? Was it, you know, even now they're talking about Tylenol. That was the reason why there's a spike in your children having autism. I'm thinking all of the things, like what could I have done differently? So we got him the test. There was a lot of fear in doing that because we don't know which way it can go.
Right.
And even though there's a lot of research behind it, there's still so much unknown about it. And it's a spectrum, so it's very wide. So we get him tested and the results come back and they say that he has stage 2 autism, nonverbal. So we had never heard his voice. We'd never heard of mama. We've never heard anything, not even babbling, just kind of a stare, like a distant stare.
Okay.
And we're still processing that. But there's an acceptance that we have where we're like, you know what? This is not a death sentence. There's nothing wrong with it. Like he is just unique in his own way. And we're going to lean into it and we're going to go in this and we're going to tackle it and we're going to give him whatever he needs to just figure out like what we can do to make sure he feels supported and that he has everything that he needs. And again, sometimes God just puts you in places and gives you what you need, not always what you want. And us coming to New York, in New Jersey, we live in New Jersey. New Jersey is top 3 places for like resources for young children and adults for special needs. The resources for children and adults that have special needs, I can't even begin to tell you, like just the blessing and like how much we have access to. And that was like something down in the South in Charlotte, we were on waiting lists, like wait list after wait list after wait list.
Yeah.
Where here, it was just like, there's so many professionals that, are studying in this, that like actually enjoy their job, that like want to like help you. And so we got him in ABA therapy. And there's a stigma behind ABA as more adults are coming out that, have ASD, autism spectrum disorder, that, talk about their time in ABA. But ABA therapy has evolved. And I would also like to say one of my Ladies Playbook sisters, Sierra Worley, was one of the first people that I spoke to about our son having autism and what she did, because she has her oldest son also has autism, and he's thriving. And I've been always so inspired by her that I just randomly DM'd her and I was like, hey, this is the situation. I don't know what to do, but you're my NFL sister. And so just tell me. And she was like, have you ever considered ABA? And I was like, no. But when we got up here, I did my research, my husband too. And he was like, you know what? What do we have to lose? Let's find a good program. We went through the interview process. And when I tell you, our son, he is babbling. He is vocalizing. He is doing so good. And I just give all the glory to God for like bringing us here to New Jersey and allowing us to be here with so much support and having our oldest thrive. And I don't have a worry in the world with him, because I know those people in there care and they pour into him every single day. While I pour into him at home, I know that they're doing everything here and providing feedback and just resources and information to like just make sure that he continues to progress. And my faith wavered during the process of, this diagnosis, but it has truly made me just really cling to the fact that God provides so much. And I'm overwhelmingly grateful. Like I really am. And I'm also grateful for this sisterhood in the NFL, that I'm realizing there's more moms, parents that are women that are trying to navigate this and feel alone sometimes, but you're not. And I thank you for creating the Ladies Playbook, because I have found such comfort in knowing that I am not alone in this autism journey and that it can only get better.
It can only get better. And, I thank you and Sierra, Gabby, because you both were so brave, and we talked about, starting group chats, and you said, I want to start a group chat to help mothers with kids with special needs. And I thought that was so beautiful. So if there's anyone out there that is going through this and they feel alone, you're not. You have Gabby, you have Sierra, you have other women within this group chat and Ladies Playbook that you can talk to, reach out to. Please reach out. Gabby, you are so right. It's a sisterhood. We all love and support one another. And that's why we do what we do, period.
Yes.
That's exactly why. So if there's anyone out there that feels alone, that doesn't know, that feels scared, all the feels, like feel all the feels, but also lean into beautiful people like Gabby and Sierra that are arms wide open, ready to talk to you and show you the love and support that you need. And I thank you, Gabby, honestly, for your courage. I applaud you as a mother for doing everything you can possibly do to make sure your baby has all the resources to be his best self. That is truly what motherhood is. That's what we do. We're going to give it all for our children.
Yeah, we know. I also learned the power of advocacy. And like being your child's biggest advocate, because while you may find a good school and a good program and whatever, it may be the most elite program, but you still have to advocate. Yes. And when you do have a community like the Ladies Playbook that you can ask questions. Like in there, like there's a forum where you can just post questions. Hey, I'm looking for this. Like, how do I navigate game day? Like, how do I do that? Like, those other women in that chat are also advocates for their children, and they can also share the information to like help you, conquer game day, having a child with special needs, or just even finding schools and programs, because every state is different. So I'm very, very grateful. I'm very grateful.
You talked about this, a mantra where you said it's only through walking through the darkness that we can find the light. Where did that come from?
I feel like just through the journeys of just in the NFL, but also being a mom, it can be very isolating in the NFL, being a wife, a significant other in the NFL. But you're really not alone. Like, yes, God is always surrounding. God always has his arms around you. And I just always feel like when I feel that's overwhelming sense of like, oh my gosh, like I can't shoulder anymore, I just open my Bible and I take a breath. And I've really also been focusing on meditation and breath work, which another Ladies Playbook sister has really been such a pillar in my life, Haley Williams.
Yes.
And
some amazing girls.
I mean, you have done your big one, Atoya, with forming this collective of women who are so dynamic, and they have a wealth of information, and they're experts in these spaces that can like just share knowledge and tips on how to just like go through life not feeling so overwhelmed, but just taking a moment to breathe and realize that, you know what, you will be okay. And life always has a way of working out on its own.
That's right. Speaking of working out on its own, you talked about going to New York and distance, and now you're married with 3 kids. I always ask this question to the NFL wives: how did you meet your significant other? And what is a moment in your relationship that you lean into and that you realize like it was an aha moment for you as you go through the journey of any relationship, right? Talk about how you met and tell me your aha moment.
Oh my goodness. How we met? Oh, child, we met in the DMs, but we had a mutual friend, but we met in the DMs. We are a modern love story, and we are still here 10 years later, still here, going strong. And he's my best friend. And I knew he came to DC.
Okay.
And I was coming down. He was like, I'm here, which was like a whole thing because I thought that he was going to stand me up, but he came through. He said he was at an NFLPA event. He even took a picture of the charcuterie board to like, let me know, like, I'm not on a date with another woman. But even though I saw that, I was not trying to hear it. I was like, I thought he was thotting and bopping, but he wasn't. He wasn't. He was faithful to his word. And I remember telling me, I'm downstairs. And I get off the elevator and the doors, it felt like, honestly, like some type of Sex and the City, like girlfriends moment. And the doors open and I see this tall, fine, I mean, like Morris Chestnut fine, okay? Tall black man that walks through. And I was like, he don't even know it. He gonna be my husband. I will never tell him that. But I just knew. I just knew that he was my person. I did. And he ended up telling me he loved me first. That's beautiful. All of that. And but it was. Yeah.
I love that. He was a man of his word. He's pulled up when he said he was going to pull up, and he led in all capacities. So that's beautiful to hear.
He did.
And I'm a sucker for love. I love love. It is such a beautiful thing. And yes, you have your ups and downs, but that anchor of just love and friendship is so important. And as long as you have that, you can get through anything. So
anything.
So let's talk about you. You mentioned a little bit that you're leaning into yourself a little more and you're trying to figure out what you want to do. What's next for you, Gabby?
What is next for Gabby is building a fitness, health, and wellness empire. That is next for me. And laying down the roots here. I was doing Pilates like, oh my goodness, many years ago before I even met Chris. That was like our first date. So it's always been at the forefront of who I am. I played sports in college, so just moving my body, fitness, and all of that.
Well, don't just scoot by that. Say what you did in college, boo.
I played basketball in college. I was a hooper.
Let's go.
Still a hooper. I still got it, but I did exchange, Spalding for, a cute bag and some Louboutins. So I was a corporate baddie, but, every now and then, I'll, go to a Lifetime and, throw up a couple shots and stuff. But what's next for me is really like building that empire. And I want to get certified. It is like my goal. My end goal is to complete my certification, comprehensive certification in Pilates here in New York, because that's where I'm getting my certification. And from there, opening a studio. There are, in the health and wellness space, there are just not a lot of women that look like me that own studios, that are led by instructors that look like me. And I think it is something I'm so deeply passionate about. And I was so lucky enough, even in my my journey of getting certified, my instructor was Black. She's Black. She's a Black woman.
Wow. Love that.
And I think
love that.
From the very beginning, it also is just inspiring. And so she also would pour into me and always tell me just, yes, chase that dream, continue to do that. And we filled each other's cup. As I'm, going through my sessions and getting my hours, we always talk about that. And so making sure that there is representation, accessibility is extremely, deeply important to me.
I could see you doing that. I think that that's amazing. I think, one thing I've been talking to a few people about, we were talking about purpose, and they're like, when you're younger, they ask you, what do you want to do? And you tell people, and then you kind of go on that path. But I honestly feel in my heart of heart, through lived experiences is where you truly find your purpose. You have to live a little. You got to get your hands dirty. You have to go through some stuff. I think that is truly where purpose lives. And once people recognize that there's no perfect recipe to finding your purpose, it's just getting down and getting dirty, you'll find it and you'll know it. There will be no guessing. You'll just know it. And so I love that you recognize that and figure that out for yourself.
Thank you. But you know what? There's also knowing when to pivot too and be like, what?
Of course.
Like this really isn't what I thought it was going to be. And I'm no longer interested in that. And I think motherhood did that to me, of being like, I was so fixated on like working in corporate and going back to corporate and being like, okay, that I attached myself to like that identity of being like in corporate, where it was like, you know what? Actually, no. I don't enjoy being another number. No, I don't enjoy having water cooler talk and just talking about like nothing. Like seriously, at the water cooler making a coffee that tastes disgusting, and just, like I realized after like CJ, I was like, I don't want to go back to corporate. What do I enjoy?
Yeah.
And what kept making me happy was working out, but more specifically Pilates, because I was able to like focus on just like me and just moving through like my whole body and like being so intentional with like the movements and meticulous and all that. Like I just nerd out about it so much, where I'm like, this is what makes me happy. So why not do it?
That's right. Why not? That's your purpose. You found it by living through it, by experiencing it, and you wouldn't have known that if you wouldn't have done it. So that's another thing we can tell people, is just try different things. Like, just exhaust
you have to
yourself
try different things.
in the sense of, yes, that's the only way you know. You truly know. So, okay, I know we're getting close. We're running out of time here. Let's play a game called the 2-minute drill.
Ooh.
Where I'm going to just give you a this and that or fill in the blank and you let me know.
Okay.
Okay. Pilates or breath work?
Ooh. Breath work. Because without breath work, then you cannot actually do Pilates. And breath work is part of Pilates.
Love it. Name your favorite music artist.
Oh, Beyonce. No brainer. I'm a beehive. I am like the chairman of the beehive.
Boop, boop, boop. Okay.
Yes.
Let's see. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Name your favorite sports team, and it doesn't have to be the team that your husband's on. Just in general.
The Seahawks.
Okay. Favorite place you've traveled to?
Dubai.
To-do list or go with the flow?
Go with the flow. Go with the flow.
Texting or phone calls?
Phone call. Do not text me. I am a call kind of girl.
What's your favorite book you've ever read?
Oh my goodness. Right now, it's actually my favorite. It's The Surrogate Mother.
Okay.
Really
Heels or sneakers?
Heels.
Name someone you admire.
Oh, this is hard. I don't want anyone to be mad at me. Someone that I admire. I love my mama.
Oh, that's a safe one. Good job. That's a safe one.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the moms holding it down.
Come on. Yes.
And Gabby, if you could tell your younger self anything, what would it be?
Actually, nothing. Because I'm where my feet are. And everything that I went through has led me to this very, very moment.
Say that then, sis. If people want to get a hold of you, which I'm sure they will, where do they find you?
You can find me on Instagram. It's just my name, Gabrielle.Manhertz. I'm also, Auntie just joined TikTok. So it's Gab_Manhertz. Very uniformed. You can find me there. And on X, formerly known as Twitter, Gabrielle Manhertz.
I'll be sure to add it in the notes. Thank you so much for gracing the podcast. Again, you are so incredible. I love your story. I love how much you've grown. And it's just so interesting to think back to the first time to now. That is truly, this is the evolution of life. And we change over time. We change and we grow and we become our best selves. So I thank you for joining and I will see you soon.
Thank you for having me, Atoya. We had a time. Thank you.
That wraps up another exciting episode of Inside Lines Podcast. I'm your host, Atoya Burleson. Thank you for joining me in celebrating powerful women in and around sports. Your support really means the world because you help in amplifying women's voices in sports. So please remember to subscribe, to rate, and leave a review wherever you listen to the podcast. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Inside Lines Podcast or check us out on the web, www.insidelinespodcast.com. I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's conversation. Until next time, keep the conversation going, keep celebrating women, and here's to breaking barriers, building community, and being a voice in a world that needs you. Thanks for listening.